And that's why, for example, people can have a tough time being alone. They might be quiet, or they might on the outset look very, very peaceful, or they might look in a relaxed state, but there isn't that peace because their inner voice is in chaos.
No, I'm not worried at all. I rely on God, Allah.
And that's why books are actually a really good way of fostering that. Books are a way, because oftentimes if you just read an article or a post, or some social media post or whatever, you're actually just being hit with a person's opinion, but you don't necessarily have the chance or the opportunity to develop that inner voice, or to read through a subject and really think about it and contemplate about it, or have that idea develop, right, as you're reading it. Okay. So when we see the fact that people read less books, or the fact that people have a lot of this external stimuli all the time, where they don't allow that internal voice to be heard within themselves, or to be have a strengthened position, okay, as opposed to what they hear externally. So a person might be hearing music all the time. You don't hear your thoughts at that time. You don't have a chance to think deeply about things when you're hearing music, or when you're watching movies, or when you're reading some posts. It's like you're getting these ideas and what somebody else has to say, and your own inner voice gets drowned out. And that's why people have a really tough time describing their experiential reality, okay, or even their existence. They have a tough time doing that. And a lot of times people, they don't have a sense of peace, okay? But intra-communication, now as we transition to start talking about it from a Deen perspective, an Islamic perspective, we understand that our connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us that peace, and our ability to have this intra-communication. So these thoughts about Allah, about the ayat of Quran, for example, that strengthens that inner voice. Okay, so it gives us that peaceful voice. So that's different. Having that sense of inner peace is different than sleeping, for example. It's different than just relaxing. And that's why, for example, people can have a tough time being alone. They might be quiet, or they might on the outset look very, very peaceful, or they might look in a relaxed state, but there isn't that peace because their inner voice is in chaos. Some people could be sitting there and they seem like they're in peace, but there is a chaos with their inner voice. They have a lot of questions, they have a lot of confusion in their life, and that inner voice doesn't have a direction in order to turn to. It doesn't have a direction to turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay. So as I mentioned, the Quran, or as I mentioned, generally speaking, the books have a great way of helping you develop this inner voice, this intra-communication, a positive intra-communication. And the Quran is the ultimate example of that, because the Quran is an example of intercommunication between the Creator and his servant. And then it is that intercommunication that then cascades into intra-communication, so a communication within a human being, okay, that is very, very beneficial in developing that inner voice. So, for example, in chapter 38, ayah 29 in the Quran, so Surah As-Sa'd, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "This is the book, the Quran, which we have sent down to you, full of blessing, that they may ponder over its verses, and that men of understanding may remember." So this fosters this this reflection, this thinking, this pondering, and it increases your Fiqh, it understands, it increases your understanding, okay, of yourself, the world around you, the issues that you may face. And we're going to discuss more about this, inshallah, very soon. But just put a pin in that for now. We're going to discuss about how Quran helps you with that inner voice, or helps you with that intra-communication, so that those healthy thought processes that we should have.
Do I feel that the New York police are providing enough protection, or do I have to have protection of my own? I look for protection from Allah.